Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Anne Marie, and today I'm going to discuss the 10 Things I Love About You, We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. This is a no spoilers book review, so don't worry about me revealing any plot twists or ruining any surprise endings. The whole point of this is to give you an inside peek into the book. So here we go. The first thing I love about We Solve Murders is that it is a jet-setting, cozy, international thriller that takes us to many different locations around the world. Part 1 of the book takes us from New Forest, England to South Carolina. Part 2 takes us from South Carolina to Dubai via St. Lucia and Ireland and a brief return to England. Part 3 returns us from Dubai to a small bench by a quiet pond in England. Regardless of the location, there is tons of action, plenty of humor, and a slew of entertaining characters. Which brings me to the second thing I love. We Solve Murders is character heavy, in a good way. There's a lot going on in this book. There are a lot of different storylines all happening at the same time, and there are a ton of characters. That being said, author Richard Osman does a great job making sure readers don't get confused, because each of his characters has a unique personality and temperament. And I promise you, they are all a lot of fun to read about. So who are these characters? Let's start with Steve Wheeler, shall we? He's number 3 on my list. Retired from the police force, Steve now owns a private detective agency. His company, appropriately titled Steve Investigates, keeps him busy and financially afloat. Steve is a simple, observant, low-key man of routine who never misses the Wednesday night quiz at the Brass Monkey pub. He is a widower who is still grieving the loss of his wife, Debbie. He has a cat named Trouble, a son named Adam who works in finance, and a daughter-in-law named Amy who calls every day to check on him. Steve Wheeler lives in a small village named Axley, which is located in New Forest, England. That small village is number 4 on my list. Described as the perfect English village, Axley has a gently sloping high street that skirts the bank of the village pond. There's a church at the top of the village and a small bookmaker at the bottom of the village. There are 2 pubs, the Brass Monkey and the Flagon. There's also a butcher, a baker, no candlestick maker, but there's a little gift shop that sells scented candles and bookmarks. Furthermore, in Axley, you will find striped awnings, bicycles leaned against shop fronts, and chalkboards promising cream teas or tarot readings or dog treats. It's quaint, it's cute, and it's a hot spot for tourists. Unfortunately, those wanting to live in the village are out of luck, because the only way anyone can afford to buy a house there these days is to have bought it 15 years ago. The 5th thing I love about We Solve Murders is Amy Wheeler. She is Steve's adrenaline-fueled daughter-in-law who works as a private security officer, which is just a fancy way of saying bodyguard. Amy has blonde hair, blue eyes, stands 5'6", never cries, and kills bad guys for Maximum Impact Solutions, the world's biggest close protection agency. Her current assignment has her on a remote island protecting world-famous author Rosie D'Antonio from a Russian chemicals oligarch who is disgruntled about how she portrayed him in her latest book. Author Rosie D'Antonio is number 6 on my list. Rosie is the world's best-selling novelist, second only to Lee Child. Somewhere between the ages of 60 and 80, she lives in a Spanish-style mansion on her own private island just off the coast of South Carolina. She has her own personal chef, owns a private plane, and she would rather be murdered than bored. This woman has a larger-than-life personality, and she is boatloads of fun. In chapter 24, Amy asks her, quote, "Can I ask you a question?" To which Rosie replies, "If it's the question I get asked most often, then the answer is Jack Nicholson." The 7th thing I love about We Solve Murders is the plot. 3 clients of Maximum Impact Solutions, the protection agency that Amy Wheeler works for, have been killed, and their murders have gone unsolved. Chapter 1 introduces us to Andrew Fairbanks, a fitness influencer who was shot, drowned, and attacked by sharks. He's the third client of Maximum Impact Solutions to be killed. The first was a woman named Bella Sanchez who was murdered in St. Lucia while promoting lip plumping gel. The second was Mark Gooch, a financial influencer who was killed at a vineyard while doing an advert for Punk wine. Other than all being clients of Maximum Impact Solutions, what do these three victims have in common? Someone is setting up Amy Wheeler to take the fall for their murders. The eighth thing I love about this book is Francois Loubet. He is the world's biggest money smuggler who is using unsuspecting social media influencers to move his money. You know, like the three I just mentioned, the three that are now dead. Trouble is, no one knows the real Francois Loubet. He sends emails in the tone of a British gentleman using ChatGPT to disguise his real identity. So which character is playing the role of Francois Loubet? That's the million-dollar question that keeps readers guessing until the end of the book. Speaking of $1 million, the ninth thing I love about We Solve Murders is chapter 26. This chapter is from the desk of Francois Loubet, and in it, Francois explains some of the troubles with the money smuggling business, claiming that, for the most part, money is nothing but trouble. Have you ever tried paying £1 million into your local bank branch? Try it. See where that gets you. In the old days, they turned a blind eye. A pile of 50 stained with blood? Let me count that for you, sir. But now? Sometimes it's honestly not worth the bother. Anti-money laundering laws are a real disincentive to entrepreneurs. Just last week, a friend told me she had sighed when being handed a bag containing $10 million, dismayed by the thought of the effort and time and expense it would take to clean it all up. Francois then goes on to explain the details of his latest smuggling scheme involving the social media influencers. And finally, the 10th thing I love about this book is that it is an action-packed, cozy mystery, international thrill ride adventure that will keep you guessing until the very end. It is a fun book to read. It is very entertaining. It was extremely difficult to put down. And as a fan of Richard Osman, I absolutely loved it. Earlier this year in my first video, I reviewed Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club. So I felt it was fitting to end my first year on YouTube with a review of Richard Osman's We Solve Murders. We've come full circle for 2024, and next week, in my last video of the year, I will reveal my 24 favorite reads of 2024. But for now, if you've read any of Richard Osman's books and would like to add to my list of things to love, please do so in the comments. Until next time, take care, be well, and happy reading.